skill sets which is to be welcome a different group of the students to offer for an employment option. So by this time, we have become with an information like computer communication skills, a very good job is assured always by any company. But my dear students, that information is not completely true, it is only partially true. No doubt communication skills will play a very important role in deciding about the success in any organization. But apart from this, the power of the brain, the capacity of the brain, the thinking capability of a person would generally decide about a person's success in a long way, in the long run, actually to develop this career in the best possible way. So in those conditions, I would prefer to say that any student of any university would actually be good at those two areas of expertise. One is communication skills, the second one, the thinking skills. So once a student is gifted with these two types of characteristics, I am sure that you need not go after any company to look for a job, but I am sure that the companies will be after you. But they want a person who can think very logically, who can think very brilliantly, who can think very innovatively, and so on like this. But the point is that you must always give up with the basic characteristics what I learned from is after this, some sort of general thinking, core thinking, traditional thinking. So these things will have no longer nowadays in modern globalization scenarios. But to describe one small example, before I proceed to the training program, how companies generally look at and test the capabilities of the students. For example, just try this question. Imagine that you took a flight from another university now, and you are going to travel 2,000 kilometers towards north. Let me be very clear about my statistics. Imagine that you took a flight now from our university and are traveling towards north, exactly towards north, 2,000 kilometers. Now from that point, you are taking a shift towards east and you travel another 2,000 kilometers, exactly towards the east. From there, once again you take a turn and you travel the flight another 2,000 kilometers, but exactly towards south. And from there, finally, you take one more turn towards exactly towards west, another 2,000 kilometers. I repeat, from here, 2,000 kilometers towards north, another 2,000 kilometers towards east, another 2,000 kilometers towards south, and finally another 2,000 kilometers towards west. The question, very straight and simple. Where do you get it down? Yeah, please, you can respond. Academic phenomena? Please. Any different answer you have? I think almost all of you will get on the same, that is the University of National University. But my dear students, that answer is not correct in fact. Because the moment I talk about this example, you always imagine a square. And of course, if you are good at directions, I'm sure you will arrive at only the National University alone. But you forget about one important critical point in this question. It is that much simple. No organization would like to test your capability of thinking by posing this set of questions. For example, the required input, what you generally require to allow the solution for this question was given, if I am right, in the 6th class or in the 7th class. Not earlier than that or not more than that. But though our students know at the university level, the main drawback of the education system is that you forget about the knowledge which you generally acquire in the lower classes, and you come to the next class with an open mindset, but by ignoring the knowledge what you are taking in the previous classes, which is not actually advisable. So the main objective of education is to use the lower classes knowledge, but to look at the higher classes to expand your knowledge perceptions to different angles as possible. But it doesn't happen. Actually now it is true. You almost saw, if you have concluded that it is on the same place, that solution is not actually true. For example, I am talking about a distance of 2,000 kilometers. It is about 2 or 20 or 200 kilometers, and if you compare the surface of the Earth, probably imagination of square is quite interesting, because it is quite awesome as well. But I am talking about 2,000 kilometers, which is a longer distance. Probably it can cover the distance between Kanyakumari to Kashi. So you have to immediately think about some technical aspects which are actually given in this question. For example, you know this is about like the distance between the longitudes, they will decrease once you go towards the poles, and it gets expanded once it comes towards the equator. But to the key point, there comes the center. Now imagine the globe is longitudes around it. So distance between these longitudes would be compressed the moment you go towards north. But when you come towards the equator, the distance between those longitudes will be generally expanding. So when I'm talking about 2000 kilometers distance, and every time I'm just emphasizing the fact that you're traveling exactly towards south, exactly towards west, exactly towards east, and I'm talking about those directions. You're not supposed to think about that destination in a straight line, but it must be on a longitudinal travel. Now, probably with this input, you can really imagine that when I first travel towards north for 2000 kilometers, and when I travel towards the east, it is not on a straight line, it is on actually. So, finally, when you are coming towards west, I am sure that you will get down at least 200 or 250 kilometers below the point of your starting journey. And thank you very much, our Vice Chancellor, for spending his valuable time for narrating this function.